This is an 8-iron, and it's a dead shank.
Wow.
Way right.
Oh, takes a hop off the path.
You gotta be kidding me. Very tough pitch shot right here. You gotta hit it into the hill, one hop up and bite, and it's in.
Kind of like that.
Well, I would like to welcome 2020 LPGA Tour player and Symetra Tour winner Maia Schechter to the Sub 70 podcast. Maia, thanks for taking the time to be with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm glad to be here.
Well, you've done it. You have graduated to the LPGA Tour. You are there. Overall feeling like the journey, the grind, like what? I mean, it's a great moment that you're going to be playing against the best in the world. I'm sure that's what why you put this effort and time in. But like how does it feel to accomplish this next step?
Yeah, I think it's obviously it's what I've been working towards for the last couple of years, and that's the goal, is to get onto the LPGA. And I think it feels, amazing to finally make it to that next step and to be able to compete against the best in the world, like you said. So I think a lot of emotions in that. I mean, just super excited to have achieved this kind of milestone in my career, and then obviously some nerves, and it's a whole new schedule and whole new, travel arrangements and trying to find a caddy. So there's just a lot of new things that I'm learning. And so figuring all that out definitely will be a challenge. And then also trying to play good golf. So I think I think a lot of emotions, but also, now that you get to the next level, like don't want to be complacent and be like, oh, I made it to the LPGA. Like, you want to stay there. And so it's kind of setting new goals and trying to be 2020 Rookie of the Year is kind of the game plan. So working towards that.
When's your first event? And then realistically, do you have an idea of how many starts as a rookie you'll probably get on the LPGA Tour in 2020?
So that's what I'm trying to figure out now is, especially getting status through Q Series. You're kind of still far down the list, especially the first couple events are kind of limited field. So the tour starts, actually there's an event down in Florida, kind of mid-January. So I probably won't get in, but it's actually right after rookie orientation down in Florida. So I'll try and Monday qualify for that one. And then they go out to Australia. So it's kind of just wait and see if I get into those or not. But then once the tour comes back to the U.S. and it starts up in Phoenix, I'll get those starts. So it's kind of tough, just that whole what I'm going to get into, especially limited field events. And so, trying to not put that pressure on myself to like play well when I do get a start, and just go play golf and stay patient. And so I think that's kind of one of the tough parts, is just not really 100% knowing what my schedule is going to be, and especially the first couple of events. So, we'll see. Not sure.
Is there a reshuffle on the LPGA Tour, kind of like on Korn Ferry, where based upon where you're kind of finishing at a certain point, you're reshuffled up in that kind of rookie class to get more starts? Or do you know if there's anything sort of like that where essentially really good play will allow you in a few more events than other rookies may have?
Yeah, no, exactly. I think it's after the Kings Mill, Virginia event, which is maybe like 7 or 8 starts in, 6 or 8 starts in. So there's a reshuffle after that. So, which can, work in your favor or not. So if you play well the first couple events, and oftentimes if you play pretty well in the first couple, you'll get into the A&A Inspiration, which is our first major of the year out in California. So if you get into that and then make that cut, then, you're looking pretty good for that reshuffle. So it's, so that reshuffle can definitely work either way, which I think is kind of daunting, because, first couple of events I could see myself still getting kind of into the swing of things and just getting adjusted, but still, like, you feel like you have to play good golf and and perform. So it's there's that added pressure of playing well before the reshuffle, so you don't get shuffled down. But then if you do play well, then you get shuffled up. So
so good play is rewarded, right? I mean, if you're doing what you're capable of doing, then these things sort of can take care of themselves at the same thing. Where it's like you said, I love it that the fact that good play is rewarded with more starts and more opportunities. So I mean, I think it's a cool way of doing it to give those players that opportunity who essentially have earned it earlier in the year. So it'd be fun to watch.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yep.
You brought it up with a caddy. So I know when we talked before, when you were on the podcast and then spending some time with you guys out in the Symetra Tour, a lot of the time there's not a full-time caddy out there. So LPGA Tour, I'm assuming full-time caddy, and how does that process go of trying to select somebody that, you're going to be comfortable with and working all season? Do you go with a veteran? Is it somebody you played a bunch of golf with? How are you sort of approaching that, part of your team, which is going to be I'm assuming a huge part of working together and trying to play at the highest level against the best in the world? It's got to be somebody that you have full confidence in, I would have to imagine.
Yeah. No, great question. Still trying to figure that out. It's definitely a lot of like hearsay, and kind of you just have to talk to different people and ask around and see who's looking for a bag, and ask around and kind of get references and ask other players if they've liked working with certain people, because there's definitely different styles. And I think that's one thing playing on Symetra. I didn't really use a caddy a whole lot, and when I did, it was often just a volunteer caddy, so they didn't do anything golf wise. So and I played well with that. So I think it's trying to find somebody that's kind of hands off and is just supportive and staying in the process, but isn't too attached, I think, to the outcomes. So it's kind of a tough balance, and it could take a few tries to find the right person for the job. So, but I do think I'm trying to find hopefully a veteran, because I think as a rookie, having somebody that knows the courses could be really nice, so that I don't feel like every week I have to, figure out a golf course, and having somebody that already knows the courses and knows the lines and the misses and kind of knows the green complexes, I think would be really helpful, and just kind of saving energy, so I could play maybe a little bit fewer practice rounds and not and get to practice a little bit more. So it's I think that's one of the things that I'm looking for. So as much as I have a few friends that have said that they would love to caddy and come out, I think that would be tough, just to have somebody that's also learning the golf course along with me. So so we're figuring that part out. I'm not sure how to do it yet. So I'm sure it'll be a learning process.
Yeah, to be determined. It makes sense of what you're saying, right? Because I've talked to a bunch of tour players, and they say that first year out on any of the major tours, at some level you're behind the eight ball a little bit, probably even like when you get on Symetra Tour, that other players have played the golf courses. So inevitably they have that advantage a little bit, right? So having a veteran caddy, to me, would make a lot of sense, right? In the sense of green reading, the tendency is this on this golf course. I could see where that experience on a professional bag would be invaluable to a rookie. So it makes complete sense to me of sort of direction you're going. Other players, you're friends with some of the other women that are on the LPGA Tour. Have you relied a lot on them to get feedback, advice, anything like that, as you're kind of going to this next level of what to expect? And was there a couple, 2 or 3 things, if you are, talking to some of the women who are already playing on tour, that were kind of, I didn't think about that, or had some interesting advice or any stories from talking to the players that are currently out there?
Yeah, definitely a lot of questions. And I live with another player, Catherine Perry, and her husband, who caddies for her. So I've just been bombarding them with questions. So I think, a lot of it is kind of like, especially in the beginning, what events they think I'll get into with my status. So that's kind of a big part of it, just planning, especially in the beginning parts of the season. and then using them for caddy references and trying to, ask around about different people. Been asking around a lot about, contacts for reps, and recently talked to a player who set up her LLC and kind of sold shares in her LLC as a way to kind of finance her golf. Cause I know that's one of the big kind of transitions from Symetra Tour to LPGA is you can make a lot more money on the LPGA, but it also costs a lot more because you do have that caddy every week and you have to fly most places and rent a car. So unlike Symetra, where I did a lot of volunteer caddies and I think I'll continue to do host housing. And then I drove from event to event. So I had my own car and didn't have to fly. So just with that cost, trying to find a way to make that all work is definitely something I'm asking a lot of people about. But for the most part, yeah, like you said, I have a lot of friends that are already out on the LPGA, so they're psyched and willing to answer any of my questions. So people have been really nice about that, which has been great. So
your 2019 season on the Symetra Tour, 44th on the money list. How would you assess that the final season that you had on the Symetra Tour before kind of graduating, to the LPGA Tour? Like overall, kind of looking back at it now, views of the 2019 season, sort of as a recap.
Well, it had a lot of ups and downs. It was an interesting season. I think I learned a lot this past season, and just kind of felt like my game got a lot steadier this season. And I finished 44th on the money list, but missed several cuts by just one shot. So I felt like, as much as that hurt in the moment to miss a cut by one shot, but it's also like, okay, you're not missing cuts by 5 shots. Like you're always there, like always, playing pretty consistent golf. So that was nice. And then kind of towards the end of the season, like the last 4 to 6 weeks, just kind of cut down a few of the mistakes and started posting some really good rounds, which obviously then helped me get my card. So I think it was a more consistent year, even though I did finish 44th on the money list as opposed to 2018 where I finished 26th. So it was just a few missed cuts by one shot. But, it was also, there was middle of the season, like, just did not want to play golf anymore. So I feel like part of it was just I refound my passion and my enjoyment for the game. So I think that really helped towards the end of the season, especially where I was just really enjoying the process and really enjoying golf again. And so going into second stage and going into Q Series, I was kind of my motto was no expectations. And, as much as everybody wants to make it to the LPGA, that's the goal, but wanting it doesn't mean you're going to get it. So I feel like I went into it just fully accepting whatever happens. If I got my LPGA Tour card, then obviously that's amazing. And if I didn't, then I get another year on Symetra to develop as a player and play golf courses that I know and stay with amazing host families. So I feel like that was something that I learned in 2019 was just that you just have to really accept whatever happens, commit to doing your best and commit to your process, and then whatever happens, happens. So.
Hey everyone, it's Jason from the Sub 70 podcast. Some exciting things happening at Sub 70 over the next couple of months. The 699 Pro iron should be coming in. All of that technology that people have really seemed to like in our current 699, but we're doing it in a Pro version. A little less offset, a little thinner top line, more workability, but the distance is still there with the same face technology that we're using in the current 699. Also, it's going to have a black PVD finish. It looks great. We're super excited about that. And then also the AL6003 full mallet putter, but it's going to be designed for an arm lock. So it has 6 degrees of loft, a little bit more weight, be able to lock it into that left arm, completely milled from a full CNC billet of steel, so the quality is superb. Alignment aids, everything you would want, high MOI, so that should be in as well in the next couple of 2 or 3 weeks, hopefully. And if any of you guys have suggestions or things we can keep working on, we love having the interaction with each and every customer. So we're really excited about 2020. Thanks for all the support, and any questions, let us know. Thanks again. Hope you're enjoying the podcast with Maia. So you get in, you're 44th on the money list, so you get into the second stage, and I was watching the scores each day, and it was tight, and you were, that last day, you had to have it. You had to have a great round. What was that pressure like? And then what is it like to come out on the other end when you need a great round and you perform under that pressure and you do it? The confidence, I'd have to imagine, out of it at the back end of it has to be amazing, that when you needed it. But what's that process like to go through when it's like, this is it? It's I got to get past this hurdle. I have to do it today because my goal is to get to the LPGA Tour. What is that? We play competitive golf as an amateur, right? But it's not our living. You're playing for your career. And I think that's what listeners find fascinating, that when the pressure is on, when you really need it, all that experience in playing professionally for those 4 years, I'm assuming kind of culminated in that moment where you knew you're good enough, you're going through the process, and you get there. But what's that journey kind of like in second stage, especially when you're, in that border of in, out for that many days, and yet you come through the other side?
Yeah, I think the final round in second stage definitely was a huge confidence boost going into Q Series, just knowing that, I did post the round that I needed to post that final day. And I think, it's just kind of one of those things where you put in the work and you do what you need to do every day. And then when the moment comes and you need that round, there's either I don't know, it's kind of one of those things, I want to say, you just make it happen, but it's all, you either make it happen or you don't. And either way, it's part of it's a little bit of luck, that one shot that you pushed a little bit, but you aimed it in the right spot and you hit it to a foot. It's just kind of one of those things where if you know that you've done the work, then you can go out and just trust yourself and just know that you've done everything that you can. And whether you post the round or don't, that's out of your control. So you just kind of go out and play and see what happens. So I feel like that's kind of the mindset that I had for qualifying, was that I'd been working hard and felt like I had the game, and if I played well, then that was great. But it was really just not, especially that final round of second stage, didn't really have a number in mind, and made the turn and was maybe 1 under or something. So and had to play pretty well on the back nine, but I had no idea. So it was kind of just hit the fairway, hit the green, and have a putt at it was kind of my game plan. I don't know. It's when you put that pressure on yourself and that expectation to okay, you have to pull this off, then with that expectation comes the fear of not pulling it off. So I think that was kind of my mantra, was just this fearless, no expectation, just do everything you can. And then whatever the outcome is, that's the outcome. You're so at peace with it because you feel like you've done everything you could. And if it's not good enough, then you know that you just have work to do, so. Yeah.
I'm imagining this, but I imagine that's a great spot to be mentally, because you're okay with the outcome one way or the other. And you've trusted yourself that you've put the work in, and you've been a professional long enough that the moment's not too big, but it's also not to the point where it's the end of the world one way or the other. You're going to go in there and you're going to play your best, and the outcome is what the outcome is. And it sounds like that would be a really, from a mental standpoint, be a great way to go through something of that importance, where you can kind of let the outcome go, where you're not on every shot, and you're trusting that you're playing. I mean, you played pretty well at the end of the year, so you're playing good golf going into it. I think it's something us amateurs can learn, is sometimes just letting the outcome of it go and playing your game and not get overwhelmed over maybe one, like you said, missed shot. You probably had the attitude of, I'll get it up and down. I'm playing well. I think it's a great way to approach it.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think I think it's just, when you attach yourself to the outcome like that, is just so hard to, that's just so hard to control, because there's so many factors that go into that. But like, I know, especially over putting, you have like that 5-footer for par, and you're like, okay, I want to make this, but it's, that everybody wants to make it. Everybody wants to make every putt that you ever stand over. So that's like pointless to think about. So if you take away the expectation of making the putt and the fear that comes with that of missing the putt, and then you just go back to like, okay, what do I need to do to hit a good putt? And that for me is starting it online and then having proper pace. Proper pace was kind of my game plan, like all through qualifying, especially Q series. Every putt, that was just like, you obviously want to make the putt, but how am I going to do that? I'm going to pick my line, start it online, and with good pace. And if it goes in, like, great, you read the putt properly. And if it doesn't, I did everything I could, and I read the putt to the best of my abilities, but it didn't go in, Like, you can't get mad at a bad shot if you did everything you could to hit a good shot. So
it's a great way to play golf. It really is. It's less,
up and down of emotions, because you feel like you're always, grading yourself on things that you can actually control. And like, you'll see me get pissed on the golf course very rarely, but if I do, it's because, like, if I miss a putt and I get mad, it's because I stood over it and wasn't committed to the line, or, I don't know, was too caught up in the outcome. So it's like, if you grade yourself on those things that you can actually control, then you're just a happier golfer, and you usually play better too.
All right, I'm taking that advice next year into 2020. I'm letting the bad shots go, no expectation, play as good as I can. Let's just see what happens.
Let me know how it goes.
Yeah, the game drives me half crazy. It has my whole life. So I'm going to try my best, though, to let outcomes go and not worry about it. But with my Type A personality, we'll see how long it lasts for. But I'm going to try. I'm really going to try.
Okay. Yeah. Let me know.
I will. Finals is crazy. Was it 8 rounds for the final stage?
Yeah, like Q2 it's just a lot of golf.
So what's that grind like? It's not, so you're playing well. You play great when you need to, so the mindset's good, but now you've got, the finals, and it's 8 rounds, and there's that's a lot of golf to get through, to maintain consistent good golf for 8 rounds over that period of time. So what was that experience like? You got off to a good start and sort of played really well the whole time. You were sort of inside that bubble. Was it comfortable? Were you comfortable in that situation? That, okay, is there pressure? Like, okay, now I'm in. The only thing I can do is go the other way. So do you play less aggressive? Like, how did your mind and body and all the experience you have sort of handle that once you were sort of in that bubble pretty quickly, at the final, but yet there's that many rounds to go?
Yeah. No, it's an interesting 2 weeks, because you have 4 rounds on one golf course, and then you have to go play another golf course. So I treated it that way, kind of 2 separate weeks and 2 separate tournaments was kind of my mindset. So between the 2 events, I took a day off and just kind of chilled. So I think that was helpful for me, just to kind of have a day off to reset. But I think, it being 8 rounds can be a plus and a minus. If you go into it thinking, you need to hold on for dear life for 8 rounds, like, that's going to be very tiring. or if you go into it thinking you have 8 rounds and, you know, if you make a bogey, like, you still have so many golf holes. So I felt like that was kind of my mindset going into it, was there's just so much golf. Like, everybody's going to make bogeys. I mean, everybody's going to make a double at least once in this, you know, you're just like, you're going to make mistakes. Yeah. Yep. So that was kind of freeing to me, that you didn't really have to, like, it's not like Symetra Tour events where it's 3 rounds and you kind of have to, it's a bit of a sprint, you know, you have to post some good rounds. And if you're trying to win, like, you have to post those rounds early, and quickly. So it felt like with the 8 rounds, you just kind of commit to your game plan and didn't feel like I had to press, or, you know, you just kind of go about your business and see where you ended up at the end of it. I think definitely having the first week and being, like, tied second, I think, or something like that.
Right
after the first week, definitely played really good golf. I loved that golf course, and had played that golf course last year in Q Series. And then the second week was a different golf course that we had not seen yet. So it was definitely to my disadvantage that I had not seen the golf course ever before. I definitely get more comfortable the more times I play a golf course, and learned a lot every time I played the course. It was some pins, there were just places you couldn't miss it, and big ridges and lots of different tiers to the greens. So it was a tough track, and so I mean, I managed to hold on and get my card, but that wasn't my mindset when I was playing. It wasn't like a, you know, hold on for dear life kind of thing. I was definitely just going about my business and committing to the shots, and felt like me and my caddy did a really good job of just each shot staying in the process and trying to hit the best shots we could hit. So I think, it was, I mean, the last round I was actually really calm and felt very confident. I would say the second to last round was tough conditions, and I was not hitting the ball well. So I think that was probably the toughest round of the 8, just grinding it out. So, but it was, you know, that was going to happen over 8 rounds. You're going to have a round where you just don't hit any greens and you just get up and down, you know. So it's, I don't know. It's just a lot of golf. But
it's
once you accept that, you know,
I look at that and I was like, wow, it's eight rounds. Holy cow. But I mean, I guess it tests you, right? I mean, it tests you. You can't fake it for one day. You got to play really consistent, solid golf for 8 days straight.
Yep.
Right? You can't fake your way through it. So I kind of understand why they do it. It's just, they're putting you to the ultimate test, right? Can you hold up for 8 rounds and get through the gauntlet? And then, hey, if you can, you're ready to play against the world's best. So I think it'd be tough on the players, but I understand kind of why they do it that way.
Yeah.
Just to see what you have.
Yep. Because Q school used to be just 4 rounds down in Florida. And I mean, I would say, you know, you still had to play well, but it's, 8 rounds, you can't just go on a hot streak, really, for 8 rounds.
Yeah, especially then with the break, right? Then you're restarting again, right? Which I can understand why they do it. Like, it's almost like 2 tournaments. I mean, it sort of is 2 tournaments. You got to hold it up for 2 weeks doing it. So I think it weeds out the 1 hot round or 2 hot rounds out of it.
Yep.
You know, and I think good, solid golf kind of got a lot of the players through. So, no, it's like your mindset. I don't know. It makes sense to me of your mindset working for that, you know, for both stages, and you just sort of stuck with the process. And it sounds like you did the same. Yeah. The moment of the finals weren't any bigger than the second stage. You just sort of played your game, went through the process, played golf.
Yeah, I think it was helpful too for me that, you have second stage, and then you go straight to Q Series. So that's 3 weeks in a row. And then actually before that, the Symetra Tour schedule butts up directly to qualifying. So we had 3 events on Symetra and then qualifying. So it was like 6 weeks in a row. But I think that kind of played to my advantage, because after a certain point, you just kind of you become somewhat numb to it all. Like, you're just like, okay, here's another golf shot. Like, I've hit hundreds of these in the past couple of weeks. So it kind of, in an odd way, kind of loses its glamour, because you show up to the first tee and you've hit so many first tee shots in the last couple of weeks. So it's just like another shot. So I think, there's kind of two sides to it, where some players get really tired after playing week after week, and then some players get sort of into a routine and into a groove, and it just becomes, here's another shot, and you just do your process and get really ingrained into your process. So I think that played to my advantage a little bit as well.
Well, don't you also think, too, because you were playing well?
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah,
like, you had a good, solid
streak.
streak. Right. Like, you were playing really well. We were watching the scores, and, like, you're playing good. So then confidence builds confidence, right? The tee shot, right, yeah. I mean, like, you caught it at the right moment and kept it going. So I guess I imagine at some point it probably felt somewhat easy. Yeah.
It's a little easy, a little automatic, kind of, for sure.
Not a bad way to play.
Yeah.
Well, I got a few quick hitters here, and then we'll get you out of here. But looking back at the Symetra Tour, so you were out there for 4 seasons. There's some interesting towns that tour stops in. So looking back now, since now you're on the LPGA Tour, what was the best town that you enjoyed going to the most, that might have not been on the radar, but once you went there a few years, you loved it? And then on the flip side, what's sort of the craziest spot you ever played a Symetra Tour event looking back? It's like, how in the world did we wind up here?
Wow. Well, spot that I didn't know existed that I love is, Battle Creek, Michigan, which I had never heard of, but is the town where, like, Kellogg's is. I have, like, a great host family, and I love that golf course. So that's probably one where I just love going back there and have good memories there, and just never knew about that place. Some weird spots. I mean, we got a Garden City, Kansas, which didn't know that place existed. Yeah, that's a small one. Great Thai food though, and it's really, I would say the way that I grade a tour stop is, how's the host family and how's the golf course are kind of my two. Like, I have some tournaments that I have incredible host families and then not a great golf course, so it's,
right.
Yeah. So that's kind of, host families make or break, because if you have a great host family, then you're having fun that week, and, you kind of, if you play well, then it's awesome. And if you don't, like, you're still having fun and you feel like you're still in a home for that week, which I think is huge playing on tour. You're traveling all the time, and, you're away from home. So if you can get that home away from home kind of feeling, I think that's huge on tour. So, so there's just been a lot of great host families. That's kind of one of the sad parts about moving up the food chain, is now I don't get to see my host families. So I'll get to meet new people, which is exciting.
Well, and they probably stay in touch with you like Jay and I have from meeting you at that tour event up and that was at a casino. I mean, that's a fun tour event.
That one, Harris, Michigan.
At the UP.
That one, didn't know that place existed either. That one's awesome.
Yeah. But if you can't have fun hanging out there for a couple days, I mean, that's a good time. The casino's good. The golf course was good. Like, we had a blast going up there and visiting with you guys and hanging out. Like, that's a fun event. So maybe if there's a casino involved in a golf tournament, that could be on the upper echelon as well of at least making the week fun.
No, for sure. That's true.
Last one I got. So next year, is there any trips or courses or areas of the world you're going to? Like you mentioned Australia, but is there anywhere that you're like just super excited to go and visit and see that country, or as part of the United States you haven't been to yet? And obviously the golf's important, but also to enjoy the travel and what you're doing with it as well. So is there any 2 or 3 spots maybe potentially that you're looking at, like, I can't wait to get out there?
Yeah, there's a few. I think, we play out in Hawaii, which I've never been to Hawaii, so I'm very excited for that one. That'll be yeah, I'll probably book a few extra days on the end of that one to get to explore and hang out. I know we go to Vancouver, which I've always wanted to go to Vancouver, so I'm kind of excited for that one. Hope to do some exploring there. And then we go the Scottish Open. I've never been to Scotland, so those are kind of, I would say, the three that I'm pretty excited for. But I think that's a good point too, is that on Symetra Tour, one of the reasons I love being on tour is that you do get to travel and see new places, and I did a great job of seeing the sights and kind of doing stuff outside of golf. So I want to make sure that I continue to do that even on the LPGA. So make it fun and make it enjoyable. It is an incredible opportunity. So take advantage and see the world. So,
well, yeah. Vancouver is one of my favorite cities. I'm sure you're going to have, it's like one of the coolest cities ever, where you see mountains on one side and the ocean, and just got a cool vibe for, like, the whole place is awesome. So
yeah,
I'm imagining you're like that one. Like, who doesn't want to be stuck in Hawaii for a few extra days, right?
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
To do the home of golf. So yeah, Scotland, it'll be an interesting first year. We'll have to sort of recap of all the places you visited and everything that you did. But, congratulations. Like, it's been so fun to watch you go through the rise up, per se, and get to that next level. And I can't wait to see what you're going to do. And Elizabeth Zokel's out there, who we got to know as well, out there with you. So, like, for us over at Sub 70, it's just been so fun to kind of watch your guys' journey. And we couldn't be more proud of you guys. And, like, go out there and kick the hell out of it. Like, play great golf, enjoy it. It's going to be so much fun to watch.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate that. We're, definitely excited to be out there. And, with Elizabeth Zokel. Sure I'll be seeing her around, play some practice rounds together. So, it'll be a good time. I'm excited.
Well, enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Thanks.
You've earned it. You've definitely earned it. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.